Today is January 24th. The AUM for Elephant is 495.7 million. The Elephant MCAP is 258.5 million. Our treasury is at 51.3 million. The trunk supply is at 108.8 million. And we are staked at 51.74 million. Ed, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing, Josie?
I'm doing all right. I've got a little bit of a cold,
Nice.
So pardon me if I sound like a frog.
Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you feel better soon. It seems a couple people here have been sick over the past week or two with a little bit of a cold or flu, or even though it's not cold here, but you still get it anyway, But hope you feel better, and next week, you'll sound back to normal.
I hope so.
All right, everyone. Let's see, who do we got on today here so far? What's up, Money Man? I see you're on today. Blackberry guy. Hoping BT comes on because I'm sure you guys want to hear a little bit about futures V8. Seems like everything's running pretty smooth from what I've seen so far. And if you have any questions regarding it, you can always ask a little bit in the chat for the next couple days before we still focus on our Q1 stuff, which is obviously NFTs and buying the elephant token. And I see Bertha did move a little bit up, like of 100 billion so far in the past 24 hours, I think it was. So that's pretty good. So that everybody's trying to get back on pace, whatever their schedule was for their redeposits or even their claims. And if you've noticed over the past week, the market has taken quite a bit of a little little dip, thanks to all the liquidation of the assets from FTX, like $1 billion getting moved around in the market. So seen a little bit of that. BNB has had a week of, I think last week it was like around 320, and now it's all the way down to almost 293 or 290. So it's taken a bit of a dip too. So you're going to see that in the elephant money price. Hopefully that'll rebound pretty soon and get back to the normal that it was doing, which was a nice little gain since the beginning of the year. And I hope to see that again over the next couple months. Noticing that Bank Teller is connecting and Jed is on. So what's up, Jed? Appreciate everything that Chris does and Flying DeFi, man. Love all those videos he's been putting out. Thank you to all those content creators. He's been putting out some stuff, including Zoa. I know he's got a little contest running for Medium articles to give away an NFT. So jump on that info if you like to write. If you want to write some stuff about Elephant, we'd be glad to see it. We'd be glad to read it and maybe score yourself another NFT or maybe even your first one. Other than that, I guess it's time to leave it up to BT right now if he wants to jump on as soon as he'd like to. And let's see. If not, Blackberry guy, did you want to jump on real quick or anything and say anything before we start listening from BT at all? If not, that's all good. The Rugs, I see Rugs is on there. What's up, Rugs? Hope you had a good week so far, man. You are good to speak. You're just still on mute. You just got to unmute yourself.
Hey, Ed, it's Colin.
Hey, man.
Not too much. Hey, big surprise, man. I wasn't expecting V8 to be out this week, so that's a huge...
No, I was thinking more next week. I thought maybe next week, actually, but it was coming. I know the testing was going well. I just didn't know when I didn't think it was going to come out that quick, though.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's already reinstilled a lot of confidence, and we can tell by the base rate going up. So, BT is a beast.
I have not actually opened up my wallet or anything with my crypto today. Did it move up a little bit or quite a bit, or how much did it move actually?
I think we're up almost a percentage. So we were at like 13.5 or 14, I believe.
Oh, nice. It is working pretty well, especially once everybody gets a hold of it and starts doing what they usually do. Just because we launched it today doesn't mean today was everybody's redeposit day. Or maybe they use the money to do something else and they're waiting another 2 weeks or maybe another month. Maybe they bought Elephant instead, So, yeah, we'll see it all in the long run, do what it's supposed to do. And, always love when BT is making sure everything is as sustainable as it needs to be.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to take people a little bit of time to figure out their strategy and whatnot. I think it's definitely great that he he pushed it to 45 days. That gives those people that are, at once every 30 days, a little bit of a bonus and a break. And anybody that was over that, it kind of encourages them to deposit more frequently.
Yeah, I think 1 month is enough. I know there's some people that, that might have started some accounts for some younger kids or things like that, and they wanted to run it a little bit slower because it wasn't in such of a rush. But 30 days is pretty good, I think. Nothing wrong with that at all. Should be pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, people can't forget there's still a base rate, right? I mean, we shouldn't be relying on that personal rate anyway. If the herd
shouldn't.
If the herd moves together, then we push that base rate back to 0.5 where it should be. Then we don't have to worry about the personal rate.
Right. I mean, there's going to be some claimers. So you're not. Granted, you're in futures to deposit, but you're also in the claim. Once it gets to the point where you're ready to do all that, there's going to be a day where that actually happens for everyone. So luckily it's still early, and what is it, a year old now? So it's not bad for doing a year so far.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is people need to realize is that we hold it in our hands, right? If the herd bands together like we did on that run up, and drain the LPs. I know that everybody looked at futures as the godsend, and that's what saved us. And I agree. Futures definitely put some positive pressure, but the herd was taking out like eight trillion a week or something during that run up.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so everybody's all like, "Oh, well, futures did this, futures did that." I agree. Futures is great, but it's just one aspect. NFTs also added over $2 million in less than a month. To drain those LPs. So it's not, it's an ecosystem. It's not us versus them, I guess I should say. It's all of us pushing in the same direction.
And, there's like 20-something thousand wallets of elephant money. There's only, I know there's 3,000 accounts in futures, but we all know it's not 3,000 exact. There's a lot of multiple wallets by same people. So it's quite a bit less, but it did put a lot of money into the ecosystem, and then you have the NFTs. So yeah, it's not just one thing that's doing all the work. It's actually everybody all together as a community buying all sorts of things, depending on their strategy and what part of the ecosystem they want to get in. So, and NFTs is a pretty big one as well. I mean, that was a lot of money coming in that first round, and I'm sure we'll see a big amount too when near the end of the second round. I'm sure we'll see a lot being bought too.
Yeah, especially with the low B&B price, right?
Oh, everybody. Right.
So B&B's not going to get much lower. We're at a pretty stable floor here in B&B. So it's no time like the present to buy NFTs.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. Hey, BlackBerry guy, you want to jump in on here with us?
Sure. No, happy to do so for a moment. No, I appreciate Rugs to Riches. I've said for the longest time myself that when people say, "What should we get into?" Well, we've got these three. The elephant money system is not a one-trick pony, and I think that's evident. That all of these facets play a prominent role. They've all been, great components, and they work together harmoniously. And I've appreciated. I'm with Ruggs about the speed in which Bank Teller was able to put together V8. I wasn't expecting it right away because this is really what's happened. We've seen a quick turnaround with this, and I think it just speaks again to his dedication. He believes in what he's doing, and he has a vision for the people who are part of the herd and people who can be part of the herd. And as he believes in that, so he also works at it. And I respect that quite a bit. And I'm really grateful. I think it is a great incentive to put this booster onto the futures system. And I do think it reinstills a lot of confidence. I think people need to look at the bigger picture anyway when it comes to these rates that you get from futures. It's just, if you can find something like that anywhere else in TradFi or DeFi, go for it, because I don't see it. I think it's a great system, going forward, regardless of whether it's been a 0.5 daily or whether it's what it is now. It's fantastic. So, and I think the other thing too is one thing that I think about as we talk about elephant token and purchasing that. I really do think there's something to be said about taking on a kind of mini Bertha mentality. I know recently I picked up some more elephant and recognized that in my situation, as I was picking it up, not on the same level as Bertha does, but when I pick up elephant, I capture value because I already have a decent bag. And so whenever I pick up more, I actually get more bang for my buck, just like Bertha does. And I think if people sense that, as they grow their bags, they're going to find that they're going to be a lot like Bertha. We all know how Bertha picks up much more value capture when she's purchasing things. And the same thing can happen to us as we grow our bags. More and more, we're going to find ourselves grabbing more value capture. And that's just another tool in the bag, I think, for promoting. And I think it's a tool in the bag for people who want to participate. It's an incentive to buy because the more you buy, the more value you capture. So I keep looking ahead to see what 2024 is going to be for us. And I think it's going to be bright. So I'll stop there. But again, I just appreciate the fact that futures is progressed, and it needed to. And we have the man who can help that progress happen in the person of bank teller. So grateful for that.
Yeah, 100%, man. And we appreciate your Friday post as well. Every single time, we're always looking for that each day. So that's our best part of the day is reading your posts. So I cannot wait till next week, or maybe even this week, to see what kind of numbers come out over the past couple days.
I'm grateful to you, Ed. Thank you.
You are welcome, man. You are welcome. And I like what you said, man. Everybody try to be their own little mini Bertha. Suck up as much as you can like Bertha does.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe down the road you got to pay out some of your personal liabilities, but all you're doing is keep capturing and capturing and capturing.
You do, and the larger your bag gets, the more capture you get. That's how it works with Bertha. That's why it works with us. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey, Ruggs, you're doing something every Monday, right? I missed this past Monday, I think, with you guys.
Yes, sir. We actually had SK on. It was a great show.
Oh, nice. Is it already posted?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's posted. I think it got pinned as well, so you can go through the pins and hit the show.
All right. I know BT has been sitting in the wings, so if you want to jump on BT, it's all you if you're ready.
Hey, how's it going, folks? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. Yeah. Thanks. This is, this is just my day job. So, I just clock in, and so, and I'm in elephant too. So I'm in all the different things too. I'm in futures. I'm in NFTs. I'm in elephant, trumpet. So I just, selfishly, these things just have to work. So, like, this is my bank. Like, just like it's your bank. This, like, these, and being in this space for a long time, that being finance and all that stuff, and being sort of closer to the metal since I've made the transition to DeFi, and being in crypto since 2011, in Bitcoin, so many bull markets, so many bear markets, so many bull markets wasted, so many bear markets wasted. So, like, every single market, all time, is beneficial. In the bear markets, you want that's really where you establish your wealth, is by picking up depressed coins when no one's looking at them, or when they're drained out of value. And it's also knowing like what types of projects to stay away from. The ones that like dropped 80%, 90%, 99.99%, in the last cycle, and they're never coming back. They'll have these. I wouldn't even call them a dead. Calling it a dead cat bounces. That's being too generous. There'll be people who try to pump stuff up, for projects that are effectively dead already. Why do I talk about this? Because a lot of the projects that are out there look like that right now going into this new bull run. There's a lot of projects that simply won't grow as much as the new hotness that's out there, that simply won't grow versus the really established, I would say top 10, top 20, that really have done more than just hung around in that space. But the reason why they're still there is because they have tons of utility. They're part of what makes this ecosystem run. They have store of value. I mean, even something like Chainlink, it actually does something, and that's why it's still around. That's why it's still around and bopping around in the top 50, whatever Chainlink is. I don't even know where it is right now, but I know that we use it, we depend on it. It's not going away. It's going to always retain value. And then there's something like Elephant Money. We have utility, where it's a real cash flow engine. It really has saved my bacon, other people's bacon. Futures has. I wanted to make I wanted to make sure that futures had a measure of sustainability. Is V8 the final form of futures? I'm not sure, but it's pretty close to being really good. And I think the rest is going to depend on the community and to drive it properly. And you have a very unforgiving, I would almost say, stick, which is the B&B reserve ratio versus the daily liabilities. That's a pretty absolute thing. If we're rocking and rolling, we should be able to outpace daily. I mean, are you kidding me? Daily liabilities, like the worst case scenario for daily liabilities, even though, we should be able to easily outpace that if we're rocking and rolling, simply put. And if we're not, then we're not. And V7 captured that perfectly. But that's not necessarily, when you have groupthink and you have fear and FUD and all those other things, and when the market isn't necessarily just taking off like we all hope it will, there's, I think people are starting to understand the ramifications of the ETF and why it might not just take off like a rocket, but it's going to be a slow buildup. And then there's also some gunk that has to be cleaned out of the system. For example, with Grayscale, they have to, the people that want out of Grayscale have to get out. And when they get out, that's going to cause, at a minimum, some OTC selling. Bitcoin, worst case scenario, it's market selling of Bitcoin by Coinbase, and that's exactly what has happened. But that, and then, anyone who is using GDBC like FTX. So you've seen all of that come into play. But most of that pain is over, and we'll start going up. What does that mean for us? That means that the wealth effect of these ETFs existing and the money flow that's going to happen after that, that's going to come our way, right? And that's going to come our way. People are going to win in different things, and be able to bring some of those profits back to the bank, and that wealth effect is just going to lift all boats. I think there's some tremendous opportunities for us in the elephant token specifically, in the trunk token specifically. I'm just looking at let's see, what would that be? 100,000, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I see, I've committed pretty heavily to trunk. And my bag is, it's I'm picking up like 1,000 trunk every couple of days, doing nothing, and the amount of investment that I put into trunk is maybe just, there's plenty of people that have put that similar amount of dollar investment into elephant, for example, or into futures. And so, yeah, it's going to get quite interesting, It's going to get quite interesting, and I think the amount of burns, we're up to 600K plus burns in trunk, so that's cool. But yeah, the growth of elephant and the growth of Bertha, it helps drive all the additional benefits that we get in futures, like the futures has a governance contract which feeds it, right? So that 1% keeps growing. So that's right now, governance contracts could be paying out, anywhere between 10,000 to maybe upwards of $40,000 a month, right? So, but if we 10x, guess what? $400,000, going into these governance activities. That's going to be significant. I don't think that's hard. I think, we can do a double pretty easily, and get back to all-time highs and go from there. So I would challenge people, you want to give your significant other a really good Valentine, just DCA. If we all do that together, regardless of whatever our poison is, if it's elephant token, go with that. If it's futures, go with that. If it's NFTs, go with that. But just DCA, and let's see what happens. I bet what's going to happen is what always happens. When we all row in the same direction, we win. And I think I checked the chart, like the elephant WBNB chart today, and it's really I wouldn't call it a battle of the bulls and the bears, but I mean, for as much buying as there is on the chart, there's a lot of selling as well, and you got to wonder, if we just get into the proper posture as the herd, that means we all got to get on one side and push together. Guess what? Boom. That's when we start getting those 1% days. When we're fighting each other, it's stagnation. So, and I understand people need capital, whatever, but I think now is also the time, and I think hopefully people have realized since this retracement has happened, since the Bitcoin ETF has launched, is that things can go down, and other projects that you get in, they have their own set of unique problems and challenges that are going to test the chart. We have ours, but a lot of our issues are in the rear view mirror, and that's really the big difference. We are pretty much close to feature complete. Another feature that I put into V8 is before in V7 and in earlier versions, any contract, or many, not all contracts, but many contracts in the Elephant Money Network have a pause functionality. And when I say pause functionality, it doesn't mean that they always turn off. It doesn't mean that they're not 100% operable. It means that certain when the contract is paused, certain functions turn off or behave in different ways. Now, most of the time, it means that certain functions that are labeled with a is running modifier, when they're paused, those functions simply won't run. So before, in V7, when you pause the futures, you would not be able to make a deposit, but you'd be able to make a claim. So you'd be able to claim you still be able to claim your funds out. You just wouldn't be able to deposit anymore. And that was a way to say, like, depending on whatever's going on, whatever black swan event, or maybe there's the sentiment's not right, and the futures just doesn't work. Pause it, and people can just claim out whatever they can claim out. That's changed. If the contract is paused, it means that you can still operate that specific wallet and do everything that you normally do, as long as you have a positive balance. As long as your balance isn't zero, basically, as long as it's not a zeroed out wallet, or a wallet that you transferred the funds to another wallet. But basically, if your TVL, if your balance is not zero, you can operate your wallet. Why is this good? It means that if we decide that we want to focus like 100% on NFTs and say elephant and trumpet and trunk, which we know basically have 100% fixed liabilities, 100% fixed liabilities to Bertha. We can go that route if we pause futures. And when we pause futures, it doesn't mean that everyone who's participating in futures, including myself, gets screwed. We don't get screwed. We get to use futures how we want. We're just using a product that they don't make anymore. It's a product that's been sunset. The people who have it have it. The people who don't have it don't have it. And it's as simple as that. So leading up to, as I said before, we're actively working on forming a foundation and business continuity planning and things like that. And it's very top of mind that the way that V8 currently works in its current state, overall works very well for the system, works very well for the users, but there are just some things that we have to take into account in terms of, I'm just going to say it, people using the system in suboptimal ways that aren't beneficial to the system, aren't beneficial to others, yada, yada, yada. I have to put that caveat there. I have to be responsible about that. Reason why is basically until we go into some type of parabolic phase, or the next leg of this journey, at the current ratios, not only between the BNB reserve and futures, but also between Bertha as a whole and liabilities and futures. We have to get going. We have to, and when I say we have to get going, I mean we just have to rally into the next leg up. You know, for the size that we're at, we're fine. Like, you know, we can support what's going on, but we really need to, that we understand how the system works. We understand the thesis. Basically, Bertha has to accumulate more tokens. Those tokens have to rise in value. So she has to sell less tokens to cover liabilities. And, you know, Bertha can easily, or Elephant Token itself can easily outpace the growth, the 100% APR, 120% APR, basically doubling of these balances and futures. Elephant can easily outpace that, but it only outpaced it. We did it in a bull run over 2 years, right? We have to be able to do it in a better climate like there is now. Now I understand that, you know, the gravy train hasn't quite started just yet with the bull market, but it's definitely here. It's definitely coming. People are definitely making money other places, and that's all fine. That's how it's supposed to work, right? The real economy in the world, the real economies in the world, I think things are, you know, it's looking like it might be a soft landing for a lot of places, but it's definitely not great. Inflation is still problematic. Wages still are stagnant. People are still hurting, and it's harder than ever financially for many people. But we're used to that. We've operated in that environment, and we've beat out everyone. So we have to acknowledge that, you know, we have to get back 100% to what we were doing before. We have to get back to promoting. We have to get back fully to each one teach one. We have to be 100% certain in how, in confident in the systems that we're promoting. So I'm saying that to say that V8 has the top off function. You know, when your liabilities, so part of the personal bonus is, even if things, you know, the system will honor liabilities. And because of that, that's why the top off function is there. So as long as Bertha can pay out, she will, right? She'll pay out her last token to cover futures liabilities. She will. You know, it's not going to come to that. I don't think it's going to come to that. I just, like, that's almost mathematical. It's not mathematically possible. But, you know, but I've given you this, you know, personal bonus mechanism, which makes things a little harder for Bertha, right? Instead of making it super easy for Bertha, it makes it a little harder for Bertha. But I want to, I know that a lot of people depend on this. A lot of people depend on futures, and they don't have the luxury of just selling their position. If you own an elephant, at the end of the day, if you don't like the way things are going, you can just sell. You can't do that with futures. So I'm going to keep V8 the way it is. I'm going to keep that 10% top off function in place. And I'm going to keep the personal bonus in place. So this is about as good as you're gonna get to getting, the 0.5%. You get the 0.5% if you really row hard together. If you don't row hard together, you're gonna at least get a 73% APR on your money. What does that mean? That means it's pretty awesome, and you'll be able to get your money out. Like, so nobody should be, frankly, bitching about like, oh, I can't get my money out. Da, da, da. Nah, there's none of that. You're being taken care of. You're being taken care of in the best possible way. So, but you signed up to be part of a herd. That much everyone should know. It's called elephant money. You've been addressed as the herd. It's always been each one teach one. It's always been DCA. It's always been rowed together. That is nothing new. And frankly, this is better than most DeFi, because most DeFi just fails. Most DeFi just fails. Most DeFi, you just lose your money. And you can make yield in other places. You can make real yield, air quotes, in other places. But it's not the same as what you can make here when we're rowing in the same direction. And by the way, we have real yield. We have a two-sided marketplace. Any of these places talking about real yield, every transaction for whatever services they're providing, they're charging fees. We're charging fees for simple network participation. We have a fee. We have fee on transfer. It's literally in the Uniswap API and documentation for the router. It's support when you're doing a swap transaction. It's to support tokens with fee on transfer, not tax on transfer. The function name is fee on transfer. Guess what? Services charge fees. Fees get paid out to other stakeholders as real yield. If anyone says that we're a Ponzi or we don't have real yield, they don't understand the social contract. They don't understand this financial cooperative. They don't understand DeFi. DeFi gives us the power to assemble together, and we can assemble together in more than just zero-sum transactions or buyer versus seller type of transactions. There's more things that we can do in DeFi, and I've invented them. So, we've been testing them out with this community for a very long time now. This community has never gone to zero. This community has spanned multiple protocols over the years. So, we'll keep track of things, and we'll see how this goes. But what we'll be measuring is the uptick in adoption, growth, performance of futures, and we'll decide if we want this particular experiment in the herd to continue or not. And if it doesn't continue, it will be gracefully sunset. So, I think this is the best version of futures. It'll perform for a long time, and it'll pay out all participants, and everything will be rosy. If we pause it, then future liabilities will be capped, and the system, I can confidently say, just, based on all the math and where we are right now, and in the adoption that we have in other areas of the ecosystem that will just be fine, and futures will gracefully sunset if we decide to do that. But it's going to depend on what the uptick looks like going forward. So I would suggest that, you know, commit to your own strategy, your own investment strategy with futures. Remember that what we're competing against and how this all works, retirement plans, 401ks, those systems work based on, at a minimum, monthly, every 2 weeks, their deposits coming in that are, pumping the assets they're being invested in with cash for growth. We're no different. We require that investment to grow. And our business is growing the treasury. When we grow the treasury, we make yields more attractive for the other products. And so that's where the two-sided marketplace comes in. And that's what makes it a business. It's a business where we sell yield. The yield generation comes from the growth mechanisms in Bertha. And the services are just all of the various things, for something as simple as a store of value token to that has fee on transfer, to NFTs, which have a predictable schedule for price appreciation, which is driven by participation versus arbitrary things like 4 years in Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's halvings, or the way that it derives its price, were dependent on participation versus just an arbitrary 4-year cycle, maybe tied to US elections, I don't know, we would do a lot better. We would be doing a lot better in the crypto space, in the digital asset space. So we have to think about things like that. Anyway, pretty excited about V8. Use it if it makes sense to you. If you got, fudded out of, your reinvestment strategy, investment strategy, no need to worry. I will say that if people do have an investment strategy, that's going to rise the tide, lift all boats, and we'll probably hit the 0.5% or close enough to it that the personal bonus won't be that much of a factor. So look forward to seeing that play out as well. We'll see. This is all experiment in the wild, but we're doing it in a responsible way, because futures in particular is a medium to long-term strategy. So I want to encourage everyone to play futures as both a smart individual, but also realize that you're playing as a very big global team. And when we play together, row together, we win. So that's pretty much all I have left on futures. Use it well. Let's work towards positive outcome, and we'll keep it running, and we'll keep it available for future participants. No pun intended. if for whatever reason, futures uptake or whatever is lukewarm, we can just gracefully sunset it. But that will be a executive decision that will need to be made, probably in the next, I would say, 6 months to a year. If futures is strong, if futures delivers the goods, then we'll keep it running. If after 6 months, you know, like for example, if we haven't doubled the amount of futures participants, and we're still bopping around this like less than 4,000 participants in futures, I'm pausing it, and we'll sunset it. So, because the reality is we have order of magnitude more holders in elephant and trunk, and uh, uh, we need to make it by honoring current liabilities and futures, but making sure that elephant, trunk, and the NFTs uh, can soar without any potential risk and long term. And so we have to see all of the math and all of the data play out. But we can't do that at this current like scale, if that makes sense. Like we have to like grow by a order of magnitude at least in terms of participation in futures to really see, to identify certain stresses on the system that basically just aren't showing up now because of the duration that the experiment has gone on, or the amount of participation that the experiment has gone on. But so far, futures is not like going viral, and I don't know that it ever really could as an annuity. So, but because it's generous, it because it's generous, and that's something that's just a number. Like we could make it less generous, less attractive by just changing a single number, right? And we have, and and now we've taken the system from just being something that this will work great if people are really excited about it. This will not work so great, but it won't drain the system if people aren't excited about it. To with V8, I'm saying, for anyone who would say, "Oh, BT's moving the goalposts. BT doesn't care. He's holding your money hostage." That's simply not true. I'm just making sure this thing doesn't go to zero. As an operator, the show just simply must go on. People will get paid. There's a reasonable time frame for people to get paid out, and I think with V8, we've done a lot to make sure people get paid out. But at the end of the day, the car can either just sit in the parking lot, or you actually can drive it to cool places. Right now, the car's in the parking lot. Like, it's time for you guys to step behind the wheel and show the world that you can drive this thing, or 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 we just won't make any more of these cars. So, and that's what retirement looks like. Is like, the people who have these now, they get to enjoy them and use them. But also, you have to realize that, like, if we don't get the uptick that we need, if we don't do the each one teach one, if we don't do the DCAs, if we don't do the things that's going to drive the data towards the decision to keep this thing going and to continue to reinvest in this particular experiment, which is futures, then we'll just pause it. And that'll be that, and it'll everyone who's in will be good, and everyone who's not in, can use NFTs, which are a very exciting product that does not threaten Bertha. They can use Trumpet and Trunk, which are very exciting products that do not threaten Bertha. And they can just buy Elephant, which at the end of the day does not threaten Bertha and is 100% aligned with Bertha. So, there it is. I'll take. Let's end that there. Maybe take questions. I want people to know that I'm excited about V8. I'm excited to see what people do with it. But it just requires a ton of both personal and collective responsibility, and I want you guys to understand that right now. And also be excited about what the opportunity is, but understand that we are not 100% out of the weeds, and a lot of what comes next is dependent on you guys, because the protocol can operate perfectly fine with unlimited Trumpet and an Elephant token. That's all I got.
ABT, the participation just isn't just bringing new users either. I mean, when I go around and look for the NFT winner each time, I'm picking different ways to do it. And so today I was like looking around at everybody's accounts because they're on Twitter this whole hour, and I'm just going through and I'm looking when's the last time they posted on Twitter, or did they repost anything from Elephant? I just wasn't seeing any of that, and I was like, this one little aspect of our ecosystem to help bring more people, whether you actually want to double the amount of futures people or not, you got to get that content out there, and you got to bring more people in. That each one teach one is being expressed every single day, and I think people get a little lazy with it, and they don't bring as much as they possibly could bring to the ecosystem by bringing more people in. And no matter what you're doing, whether it's the Elephant token or futures or NFTs or Trunk, you always need more people. You always need more customers, no matter what business you have. And you are an owner of this business. So I would assume you really want more customers to come in to your business. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The frustration has always been that even just organic growth, geometric growth from word of mouth for participants that are already in, for participants that got delivered, multiple 10Xs and things like that, that needs to be there. And it needs to be more than, we get the chart pumping with just our own efforts, our own wallets, and then that attracts people, because that does work. But true virality also comes from really putting each one teach one into practice, and understanding that that's your personal responsibility. If you're here right now, that is actually your responsibility to bring other people into each one teach one. That's how this system works. It doesn't work any other way. So.
And before you get to the questions, and I know we're running out of time, so I want to give the NFT away really quick. Long for Change, you are the NFT winner for today. Send me a direct message, or if you're on Telegram, just contact me. Long for Change, you are getting the NFT today, and I'll leave the floor open for you, BT, to hurry up and not hurry up, but get the questions answered.
Yeah. Let's take a quick question, or a couple of questions. Anybody feel free just to raise their hand, or
Yeah, I have a question, BT.
Yep.
So first of all, thank you for your transparency and all the work. You must be under a lot of pressure, and I really admire that. So thank you. So two questions. Number one is, by the end of the year, how many wallets do you want in futures to make that viable for you? And number two, I have amassed quite a good amount of NFTs, and I love the concept. And my brain goes into the future. What if they're 8 or 16 BNB? How liquid will that market be? Do you have any ideas for that? Because what worth is it to have a good investment that you can't turn into cash if you need it?
So I'll start with the last question. I mean, so far the marketplace has been fairly liquid. For it to reach those levels, there has to be quite a bit of demand and growth in the fan base and the amount of holders of the NFTs. So if it rises to those levels, it probably assumes that we've overcome some other challenges as well, like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, becoming a household name, all those things. So I wouldn't put the cart before the horse, but the marketplace will grow organically with the demand, right? Simply put. And then for the wallets, I'm just expecting organic geometric growth, and so that means that we should not be stuck at 3,000, but we should be growing, to almost like something like 10,000. We should have something that reflects our token holder counts. So I think we have more NFT holders, for example, than we do people in futures right now. So fun fact.
Okay, that's great. So what I'm hearing is that if I bring someone into futures, whether you will sunset it or not, anyone in the system will be grandfathered into it, and there's no risk of being stuck. So that's just something I want to know in order to recruit my network.
Yeah, they'll be fine. If you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. But if you're in, if the system's gonna work for you, it's not gonna like stop working or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Next question, anyone? Well, we're pretty much at 12 on the dot, so we probably should end it early so we don't get cut off, get rugged by Twitter. So thanks everyone. Thanks for a thoughtful question, Shankar, and thanks Ed and everyone else. And let's go. Again, I'll leave it with this for the people producing content. Thank you. We're figuring out more and more ways to get those NFTs out to you. So, continue to post. When you do post, put your link in the chat. I'll keep track. I'm in there. I keep track of those things, and hopefully, sometime you'll get a tap on the shoulder and say, "Hey," if I say, "What's your Addy?" It's because I want your address so I can send you an NFT for a job well done helping out the herd. Because every bit counts, and so really appreciate the ones that are trying to take teach one to the next level to make it all happen. So for everyone. So yep, it's hard work makes the dream work. So because we're all a team. So let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just make it happen. It's 2024. It's our year. I very much do expect we'll be able to take the next leg up, and it's just going to require just a little bit of elbow grease, but we're going to do this. So take care, and I'll talk to you all later.
Thanks, PT.
All right.